Hey, good afternoon to you. 507 here, News Talk 105.9 WMAL, where we're making sense of the news. You can join us today at 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. I saw that our friend Dr. Marty McCary was out on television this weekend on Fox News Sunday, speaking very highly of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for the role of director of HHS, which is wonderful. I think RFK is going to do a nice job there. And Marty McCary was on our program last week talking about that very thing. If you'd like to figure out what's going on, listen to this show first, and then maybe check in on Fox News Sunday. I'm just kidding, Shannon. Love the show. You're doing great. But on this question of RFK arriving, it's so funny listening to the way the left talks about this guy. Well, he's not a doctor. Well, yeah, almost nobody at the director of HHS level is a doctor. What are you even talking about? In fact, over the weekend on Meet the Press, another Sunday show, Jen Psaki was confronted with this fact, and she didn't like it. She was the lefty panelist, and her co-panelist from the Hoover Institute was like, well, Xavier Becerra is not some doctor or anything.
We have seen nominations before from presidents of both parties where there have been ethical and substantive issues. Let's not forget, we had a nominee for HHS secretary in this administration who had never dealt with health care before being nominated. So I think that the notion that...
I'm not here to defend. He was the attorney general for the state of California. This is a little bit of a different...
He had experience suing healthcare companies, but not anything to do with health.
I'm not here to defend. I'm just... Okay, well, that's the answer. He's not. He's not a doctor. And I love this old audio. This is Joe Biden. Remember when he announced Xavier Becerra to the role?
And I'm grateful to the members of my COVID team that I'd like to introduce to you now, who will lead the way. I'm really proud of this group. For Secretary of Health and Education Services, I nominated Javier Baccaria.
For Secretary of Health and Education Services, he says, which is a made-up thing. It's not. It's Health and Human Services. Javier Baccaria. That's an all-timer. I love the video, by the way, of Joe Biden this weekend wandering off into the Amazon. Have you seen this video? He's standing in front of a lectern. He completes his remarks in the Amazon. And then he just walks off into the woods and nobody knows where he is. Wouldn't that be the best just for him to end his administration that way? Bye. And then he turns around and he just walks off and they play sad music, some violin music or something as he walks into the woods in the Amazon. And we never hear from him again. That's just the way the entire series ends. That's the season finale. All right. So there's so RFK Jr. inbound for HHS secretary. The other person I want to talk about is Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Now, all these people were with President Trump this weekend at the big UFC fight. And Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, once a Democrat, now a Republican. President Trump has selected her to become the director of national intelligence. And my next guest thinks that she's very qualified for this role. I want to talk to him about this. Bernard Hudson is here. He's a retired... Oh, he's not on the phone? Oh, well, I just got a false alert on that. I thought you said you had him. It's all good. All right, well, Bernard Hudson is not here. We'll talk to him about this coming up, should he join us as scheduled. He's supposed to be here. That's right, because President Trump named Tulsi Gabbard for DNI, which is great for a number of reasons. One of them is that Tulsi is being tracked right now by the Biden-Harris administration. They treat her as a terrorist when she boards airlines and have the air marshals keep an eye on her in the Quiet Skies program. It's got to be hilarious to be on the inside of these intel agencies right now with Tulsi Gabbard arriving in this top job as they're all, wait a second. The lady we've been spying on, she's in charge? Yeah, that's what's happening. Pretty funny. Meanwhile, at the Department of Justice, I see there's a report today that members of the DOJ are now lawyering up. They're lawyering up. I believe it's an NBC report. That Justice Department lawyers are getting lawyers of their own because they've got Matt Gaetz coming in. And that's hilarious to me. Justice Department staff fear a major exodus if Matt Gaetz becomes the attorney general and DOJ and FBI officials are reaching out to lawyers as the potential Trump revenge prosecutions loom, NBC reports. Multiple current and former senior Justice Department and FBI officials have begun reaching out to lawyers in anticipation of being criminally investigated by the Trump administration, according to 3 people with knowledge of their deliberations. Following Trump's decisive election victory, many Justice Department officials and career staffers were already nervous about the possibility that they would be targeted by Trump loyalists, particularly members of Congress. But the selection of former Representative Matt Gaetz, a firebrand Trump ally who was the subject of a recent FBI investigation, to lead the department has sharply increased the sense of alarm, the sources said. Yeah, the way the NBC piece describes it, he was the subject of an FBI investigation. Yeah, which went nowhere. The investigation was launched, its existence was leaked, and then months later it was closed, and they didn't pursue it any further. They didn't have grounds to, in other words. You think the FBI was going easy on Matt Gaetz? You think the Biden-Harris FBI was saying, you know what, let's give him a mulligan. Let's let him break the law just this once. Maybe we'll get him next time. No, of course not. Of course not. They found no grounds to prosecute him. And believe me, they have a very low bar for that when it comes to Republicans. And they didn't go after him. Quote, everything we did was above board, said a former senior FBI official who has started contacting lawyers because he expects to be prosecuted himself. Quote, but this is a different world. The official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity out of fear of becoming even more of a target, doesn't believe any attempt to prosecute him will be successful. Judges and juries have the power to throw out cases or find defendants innocent if they deem prosecutions to be baseless. Oh, is that so? So judges and juries have the power to throw out cases if they deem that the defendants are being harassed and that the prosecutions are baseless? That's funny. How come that didn't happen with Trump? How come that didn't happen with Trump and everybody around him? Roger Stone, Steve Bannon. The list is endless. How come that didn't happen? Well, one reason is that the left launched all of these attacks in jurisdictions where they knew that they could get a paperweight prosecuted. It didn't actually matter if you violated the law. So they found friendly prosecutors with friendly judges in friendly juries in order to take down their political opponents, to score convictions against them in New York. So what should Republicans do here? Should they go district shopping, you think? Go jury shopping? Find a good prosecutor who's going to take up their side of the argument? Why not? That's what the left does. And if you've got a real case, that's all the better. That's what you want. So a well-known former Justice Department official who wants to remain anonymous tells NBC that he's very concerned that he's going to be prosecuted, so he doesn't want to give his name out, but he thinks that he'll survive it, it'll be fine, it'll be thrown out. Like many other current and former Justice Department officials, he is bracing for a potentially long and costly legal battle, as well as the possibility of protracted congressional investigations after Trump takes office in January. Career FBI officials are especially vulnerable, the official added, since they make less money than they would in the private sector. They rely on the pensions that they receive after 20 years. I should read this tearfully, the whole damn piece. Just, agents have to do 20 years, the former senior FBI official cried to NBC. These people don't have options. He said, well, then don't violate your oath of office. Don't abuse your power. Don't come into government and attack your political opponents on the basis of nothing. On the basis of nothing. These novel, perverted legal theories that are designed to destroy Republicans? Oh, are you sorry that the consequences of your actions are catching up with you? Does this make you sad? Is this really sad for you? Agents have to do 20 years. These people don't have options, the former senior FBI official said. Now, the framework of this NBC piece and whoever this goofy, anonymous former senior FBI official is that what Trump is doing is it's just mean. There's no basis for this. He's attacking us for no reason. Everything was on the up and up. We have perfect integrity. There's nobody who believes that's true. There's nobody who believes that's true. All these guys, The guy, Andy McCabe, the guy who was fired for lying, gets a TV job. Where is he at? NBC, MSNBC, or CNN? All these guys, all the time. John Brennan lied to the American people. He's got a cushy job with the TV networks. James Clapper lied to the American people. Cushy job on the TV networks. And then they get quoted in pieces like this. In fact, I have no idea who this guy is, but could be Andy McCabe. I don't know. And they get quoted in pieces like this, and then they're treated as if this is a piece of journalism, and they're being paid by NBC, which they don't disclose to you in the piece. A former senior Justice Department official who served during Trump's first term said he, too, saw Gaetz' nomination as a sign of the seriousness of the president-elect's vow to exact revenge on those who investigated him. Quote, he needs to be able to control the department, which he can do through a loyal AG beholden to him, the former Justice Department official said. Well, yeah, that's true. In fact, the Attorney General of the United States does work for the President of the United States. The Justice Department is a part of the executive branch of the United States. It's not its own separate branch of government. It reports to the president. If the president announces today, I'm instructing the Justice Department to investigate child sex trafficking, would there be a single person who would disagree with that? Unless you ran in Jeffrey Epstein's orbit, and then we should be going after you anyway. But why would you object to that? Why would you object to the President of the United States directing the Justice Department to write something that we all know is completely wrong, to devote resources to that mission? Of course. That's his prerogative. The American people voted for him. He's in charge. And if the president says, I'm tasking the Justice Department with rooting out corruption in our politics, rooting out corruption within the agency itself, well, they have an obligation to do that. And he has every right to do that, vested to him by the voters of this country. NBC says Gaetz, who was the subject of a federal sex trafficking investigation that ended without charges, well, then how did it become public? If there were no charges, how did that become public? Of course, it leaked. Understands that he owes everything to Trump, who can protect Gaetz, as well as through his pardon power, the former official added. Trump is confident that Gaetz will do whatever Trump tells him to do. Well, again, that's the point. What was the whole first Trump administration about? I mean, in terms of officials like this in the United States Department of Justice and the FBI, it was constantly about how do we lie to Trump? How do we deceive him? How do we not carry out his vision for the country? How do we prevent him from having influence over the executive branch of the United States? You had people writing New York Times op-eds. I'm inside the administration. I'm anonymous. I'm working to subvert the president of the United States, and I'm doing it for you. Really? You're subverting the president of the United States for me, the American voter? That's weird. That doesn't sound like you're working for me at all, actually. That sounds like you're working against me. Because they were. So now you have Justice Department officials who are hiring attorneys to protect themselves because they think prosecutions are coming. And if you're at the stage where you're actually hiring attorneys, chances are you deserve prosecutions. If you're the kind of person who already knows you need an attorney, lawyer up, baby. I hope those prosecutions are coming. It's 5:20 now. One of the unfortunate consequences of this election is that Adam Schiff is going to become a United States Senator. I know. Give that guy more power, old pencil neck. So Adam Schiff will be the senator from California. He was on with Jake Tapper over the weekend reacting to Trump's cabinet picks, and here's what that sounded like.
Obviously, he is bringing a group of people to disrupt. I mean, that is what Speaker Johnson said. And I'm wondering about how much anybody in Washington is being introspective at all about why there is this kind of opening for disruptors, if not necessarily these individuals.
Oh, I can't wait for the answer to this. Do you think Adam Schiff is being introspective?
You were censured in the House last year for, in their view, holding positions of power during the Trump presidency as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And according to them, quote, abusing this trust by saying there was evidence of collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia. And I wonder if...
I mean, according to them. That's the public record, Jake Tapper.
If you are feeling at all introspective at all about that was, according to the Mueller report and according to your Republican colleagues, an overstatement. And I wonder if you think in any way you help set the table for these disruptors.
First of all, it wasn't an overstatement. There is evidence of collusion.
Oh, shut
The
up.
Trump campaign manager was meeting with Russian intelligence and giving them internal polling data, just to give you one example.
Oh, my gosh.
And the Mueller report sets all this out.
It does say, quote, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities, which doesn't mean that he didn't, that there weren't meetings, but they didn't find evidence.
Mueller says
of it.
that too. He says the fact that we didn't find proof beyond a reasonable doubt doesn't mean there wasn't evidence of conspiracy or coordination. But look, that's not what people were voting on. People were voting on, is this guy going to improve the economy? Is he going to address inflation? And we didn't persuade the American people that we had a better answer to that question, that we had a better program, agenda, plan.
Oh, it was a messaging failure.
I think we failed to persuade the American people that in the voters' point of view, hey, that party, that candidate understands people.
Oh, my gosh, what a clown. No introspection at all. Molly Hemingway, who, have you noticed Molly Hemingway is the spiciest she's ever been on X lately? She's just going after everybody. I don't know what CBS did, but Molly Hemingway is crawling all over their mentions, just absolutely destroying CBS with each passing day, and I can't get enough of it. She expressed today on X, Jake Tapper, who helped launch the Russia collusion information operation, asks Schiff whether, by ceaselessly lying about collusion, he's responsible for Trump's disruptor nominations. The collusion hoax is now so toxic, its perpetrators are blaming each other for it, and the ensuing results. She's referring to the video you just heard from. That's right, Jake Tapper, who had a huge hand in the dissemination of the Trump-Russia dossier news. Remember, CNN was the first to break this whole thing. Oh, they've got a dossier of all sorts of disgusting things about Trump. And the rest is, as they say, history. History. Coming up, an apparently really delicious Staten Island bakery gets savaged by Whoopi Goldberg on national television. Not undeservedly. She treated them like garbage. Do they have grounds to sue her? We will cover it next. Hey, good afternoon to you. 5:35 here. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, where we're making sense of the news. You can join us today, 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. Hey, Corey, you ever been to this Holterman's Bakery up in Staten Island? No? Never had anything from there? Apparently it's very good, which doesn't surprise me considering it's been around for over a century. So the family's really refined the baked goods that they serve at Holterman's Bakery. Apparently it's very successful and everyone loves it. But Whoopi Goldberg straight up defamed them on national television this past week. She was trying to mark her birthday, and she was upset that the bakery, I don't know if she made the phone call or somebody did it on her behalf, but they, quote, refused to make her favorite birthday dessert because she's a lefty. This is the way she said it on the air. She made this ridiculous claim.
The place that made these refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What? Oh,
No.
One of her co-hosts spit the stuff out on national television right back onto the plate.
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics. Yeah. But that's okay, because you know what? Listen, this is my mother's celebration.
Yeah.
Pick these up and celebrate with me and my mom.
What? What is she even talking about? So they're supposed to be celebrating her birthday. There were Charlotte Russe cakes. They look delicious. They're supposed to be celebrating her birthday. She took the very end of the show to declare that the bakery didn't want to serve her because she just made up in her head that it's because of her politics. It can't be because I'm a woman. What is that? What do you mean? Why couldn't it be because you're a woman? Why did you choose politics of all things? Maybe it was because you were a woman. Maybe that's why they refused to. No, of course not. It's so stupid. The bakery's boiler was out. And when she called them, they said, our boiler's out. We can't make any assurances that any orders are going to be available. So, sorry, we're not going to be able to fill this order. Then they fixed the boiler. Someone else called in. They made an order. and they fulfilled it. It's as simple as that. And Whoopi Goldberg wanted to turn this into a big thing. And everyone could tell, anyone who's from the area, knew what bakery was in play, that it was Holterman's Bakery, because they saw the box. Everyone recognized it. It's well known enough in New York that it was instantly identifiable what the bakery was, despite Whoopi Goldberg's claims. Oh, I'm not going to say the name. I don't want to say the name. I just want to say that I was a victim this weekend. I was a victim. They attacked me. They did? How did they attack you? They refused me service. Why? Well, I don't know, but it's probably because I'm a Democrat. She just made it all up. No, it was because the boiler was out. This poor bakery. So, here's where we are. Staten Island and people from all across the country came out to support this bakery. They went, in the end, Holterman's Bakery made out really, really nicely because customers just rallied to their defense. By Friday, there was a long line outside of the bakery well before it opened at 7:30 in the morning, and the lines remained long all the way through the day until closing time at 6 p.m. They got an overwhelming positive response. And the business almost completely sold out of its entire stock, local New York outlet Pix 11 said. Its staff was left baking nonstop all day. It was an unusual amount of volume in reaction to all of this. And over the weekend, Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella, obviously, tore into Whoopi Goldberg outside of that business.
Jill, who has had to endure something that she shouldn't have to endure. These people are up at 3 or 4 o'clock every morning. The sacrifices they've made, the holidays they've missed with their families. To make Staten Island better, they have sacrificed for 145 years. Rutherford B. Hayes was the President of the United States, for God's sakes. And they're still here, and they're still strong, and they're not going anywhere, despite what other people on television have to say. And frankly, the people who defamed the Holterman family should apologize to the Holterman family for making stuff up to suit their needs. Not everybody wakes up every day and thinks about politics. A good business person doesn't care about anybody's politics.
You know, I'm super pumped that Caroline Leavitt's going to be the White House press secretary. I think that's wonderful. But don't you think at some point that some dude from Staten Island should be the press secretary? Maybe Vito Fossella, who just comes in. Rutherford B. Hayes was president, for God's sakes. I don't know if I could love a press conference more. I think that'd be fantastic. So that was Vito Fossella, Staten Island Borough President, as I said. And then Jill Holterman, the owner of Holterman's Bakery, the current owner in its storied history, had this to say.
It's a community that I have to tell you, I'm so overwhelmed by the support between finding out yesterday this even happened, getting phone calls, and then people coming in, people from all over just supporting us in every way. We had phone calls yesterday from Alabama. Guy says, I'm going to give you $50, send it to a school, send them donuts, send them cupcakes. The support has been so overwhelming, and I know how hard my family has worked to keep this business alive, and I wish my father was here today to see this. He would never believe it. My bakers come in 2 or 3 in the morning just to have donuts and rolls for everybody to come in and say, we have the best rolls ever. And you know what? It took my whole family. It takes everybody, the community that comes every day to see us. We have this everyday conversation with everybody. How's the family? How's this? This is what makes Holterman's. It's the community, it's my fellow everything that come out, and us giving back to the community that makes this go round. And if it wasn't for you and Staten Island to make this work, we still wouldn't be here today.
I love it. I do love that these stupid left-wing scandals, you know, the stuff where they make stuff up in order to hurt someone. Don't you love that they're dying such a swift death? That it's over in no time. And not only is it over, that the counter reaction to it is so aggressive and over the top that we are now rallying behind Americans who are unfairly attacked instantly. Isn't that great? So Holterman's is doing better than ever as a result of all of this. That's not what Whoopi Goldberg intended. Whoopi Goldberg intended to hurt them. I don't want to say the name of the business as the recognizable box is on the counter in front of her. But they didn't serve me because I'm Whoopi Goldberg, and it was for political reasons, obviously, because it's in Staten Island. And Staten Island, everybody knows that's a Republican area. That's Trump country. So, of course, MAGA country. would do this to me. That's what they would do. They would stop me from getting my favorite cupcakes. A little bit more from Joel Holterman and Vito Fossella because we want to hear from him again.
This is my heart, and I thank you so much for everybody to come out and support us with the Holterman family. It means the world to me. It really does. Thank you so much. Oh, I wish my father was here for this.
Oh, you hear? Only if my father was here for this.
So good, so good. The goodness prevails. And just a little background for those who know, they had a boiler here. Again, it's been here 145 years. They had a boiler that was 60 or 70 years old. Oh. And the first week in November, guess what? It went on the fritz. They had to be replaced. And the reputation of Holterman's is impeccable, so rather than commit to something they couldn't guarantee, they said we can't do it. And the person who besmirched and defamed them
Whoopi
took that as an insult to her. Well, get over it. This family will be here for, God willing, another 145 years. And as Jill said, it's her family, it's the Staten Island community, it's the elected officials. And I hope if you're watching this across the country, go online and order something.
Go online or order something. Holterman's. All right. Over on Fox News, Democrat New York State Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton joined. This is a Democrat New York State Senator, got on the air and said, this was crazy. I can't believe Whoopi did this.
I think it was such a ridiculous thing to do. Inserting herself into a conversation about a local business and coming after a business, especially as a celebrity, can be incredibly dangerous. But the Staten Island community comes together. It was really self-serving, very self-centered. Businesses aren't thinking about Whoopi Goldberg. They're thinking about how to make sure they get out the best pastries as you see them right in the screen in front of you. Yeah. They were able to get them. So instead of focusing on something positive, she made it about herself.
Yeah. Unless maybe they were trying to do her a favor or something. Like, Whoopi, you don't need any more cupcakes. Like, we love selling cupcakes, but I don't think you need them. So we're going to deny your order today. No, Whoopi did go on Instagram this weekend to record another video in reaction to all of this because Whoopi's idiocy rallied an entire community. And here's what she had to say. She just doubled down.
I talk about the dessert I requested for my birthday show. I never mentioned the name of the bakery or the location. It does seem a little odd that when we called a few weeks before my birthday and we were told they couldn't process the order for my birthday because of an equipment failure. But somehow they were able to accept an order of a different 48 of the same dessert when somebody else called without using my name.
Yeah, after the boiler was fixed. Yeah, this is, what explains this? It's probably political bigotry. That's probably what it was. Or it was the boiler was out and then it wasn't and they made the order. They filled the order. Now, what can happen here? What recourse does the bakery have? Well, the bakery, God love them, already benefiting from the community response. But could they sue? Oh, Whoopi. Jonathan Turley today over at the Fox News Channel on their website, he says that the defamation suit against Whoopi Goldberg could be, ready for it, a piece of cake. He says the failure to name a party, which is what Whoopi Goldberg did, she didn't name them. I'm not naming them. He said, the failure to name a party in an otherwise defamatory context is not a defense to defamation. The strongest and easiest cases to make on defamation are those fitting into a per se category of defamation, like calling someone falsely a criminal or the carrier of an infectious disease. Damages in such cases are often presumed. Other cases are, forgive me, attorneys, as I do this, per quad cases, where the harm and damages are not immediately evident or presumed. Rather than be libelous on their face, per quad cases must often be brought through the use of extrinsic facts or evidence. In such cases, you need to prove special damages. It is worth noting that the implied accusation against the bakery could fit into a per se category of impugning business or professional integrity. Goldberg's statement was clearly meant to impugn the reputation and professional standing of the bakery. It can be argued as defamatory per se by implication. The fact that Goldberg identified the bakery only as a local bakery associated with these cakes is not a defense. The identity of the bakery was quickly deduced and published widely. So Jonathan Turley points out, look, people can try to use these little weasel words to try and squirm out of the legal implications of a statement like that. But she's just making it up. She made up everything about that, attacked the bakery, and then people knew which bakery she was talking about instantly. At any rate, God bless the people who came out to support the bakery. That's really nice, and it's just such a preposterous story that this is why Whoopi Goldberg shouldn't be on The View. One of many reasons. This is why The View, as our friend Julie Gunlock was saying this morning on O'Connor and Company, this is why The View shouldn't even exist. That entire show should just be canceled. Their whole thing is like, how do we retool it? How do we correct? It's time for it to go. It's time. It's time. You know, it's like old Yeller. Just take it out back. It's time for it to go. Well, we're looking at what's going on in Virginia. Luckily, things are clearing up a bit among the Republican candidates. Jason Miyares, who many had speculated, including yours truly, would likely be a gubernatorial nominee in Virginia, has instead announced that he is running for re-election as the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, leaving the governor's race to effectively Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor, to run for that seat, that's a big development today. And we will have Jason Miyares, Attorney General Miyares, on the program tomorrow afternoon. So don't miss that. We're going to chat with him about all of these developments and what he's thinking. Additionally, Governor Glenn Youngkin came out today with the following statement in reaction to all of this. Very quickly, he said, in 2021, Winsome, Jason, and I ran as a team, and we have served Virginians as a team. In 2025, Winsome and Jason will once again lead the Republican team as candidates for both governor and attorney general. Both have been indispensable partners to advance our shared common sense conservative policies that have made Virginia the best state in America for business, backed the blue and cracked down on crime, stood strong for our military and veterans, and transformed education by raising teacher pay, reestablishing academic excellence, and empowering parents in their child's education and life. Winsome has been an outstanding lieutenant governor, and she will be a great governor. She has been an outspoken advocate for common sense conservative principles and policies, a passionate voice for our military and veterans, and a relentless advocate for educational freedom and economic opportunity. She brings the fighting spirit of a Marine to the office every single day. As Attorney General, Jason vigorously defended the laws of the Commonwealth, stands with law enforcement every single day while leading our shared fight to end the free flow of opioids and fentanyl into our communities, and has been a constant advocate for victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. He has never backed down when it comes to standing up for Virginians. He is an exceptional Attorney General. Since we took office together in 2022, we have delivered on our promises to strengthen the spirit of Virginia by lowering the cost of living, jump-starting job growth, empowering parents, keeping our communities safe, and making government work for Virginians. There could not be a better team to carry on our success for Virginians in the next 4 years. Glenn Youngkin endorses Winsome Sears for governor and Jason Miyares for attorney general. That is the announcement today. So I guess that leaves open lieutenant governor. I will have to await who slots in there at that position. But these two are running for governor and attorney general. Again, Jason Miyares will be on the program tomorrow. We'll ask him about all of this. And Winsome Sears, we'll see. She's got a big candidacy ahead of her. It's always tough to win in Virginia as a Republican. We've seen that with every passing election cycle, and this will be her run at that as she tries to broadly appeal to Virginians and then maybe win back some of those Trump supporters who are a little put off by her distance from Trump for a time. Although, did you see how she closed the campaign? Strong, very strong. I think she yelled Donald Trump's name like 1,000 times on that stage. So she'd like your vote, please. That's what's happening in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Oh, boy. Yes, indeed. Hey, this is your every so often reminder. I'm terrible at reminding you about this, but you really should do it. Sign up for the podcast, the Vince Coglianese Show podcast. If you missed anything on the show, including any of the excellent interviews, you can get it on the podcast. And the more you sign up for that, the better access you'll have to the show. You can listen to it anytime. Working out, taking care of the kids, shoving away liberal protesters. It doesn't matter. You can do it with the WMAL app and the Vince Coglianese Show podcast. The great one, Mark Levin, up next here on WMAL.